Hello and welcome into Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day, and welcome into Week 11 in the NFL as we make our confidence picks on CBS Sports. Thank you all for joining us all season long. We really enjoyed being able to talk some NFL with you, and of course, thank you for supporting the network. You can follow me on Twitter at Mercado2333. Follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. We're all on Instagram. I'm at Mike Mercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333, or look up Mercado Airwaves so you can watch us make our confidence picks. Please like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. When you're listening to us make our confidence picks, we really appreciate you. Help us grow the brand. And please visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have brand new tiers for you. We can win prizes, be part of polls, and of course, get our interviews ad-free and before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. So before we get into Week 11 picks, I want to take a look back into Week 10, and we take a look at what happened here in Chicago as the Bears beat the Lions 20-13. There wasn't Matthew Stafford for the Lions, and Detroit made it very interesting. You can see Mitchell Trubisky had 3 touchdowns, looked okay, made some nice plays, but for the most part of this game, I was watching this in the studios over in Chicago as I was doing production on this Sunday, and the Bears did nothing offensively, especially in the first half. It was one of the most quicksand feeling, just losing your breath. It was horrifying. It was molasses. It was watching grass grow. And then they did break out a few plays every once in a while, but I have this kind of win is like kissing your sister, kissing your cousin, kissing your brother, kissing the butt side of a dog. There's nothing good about this. It just so happened to be a victory. And I don't feel confident at all about this team still. And the fact that they're still, quote unquote, in the hunt should really kind of be a microcosm of this entire season. It's a 500 team. It's a team that's either going to finish 9-7, 8-8, or 7-9. I said there was a good chance that we're going to finish 6-10. By them winning this game, it kind of changes things a little bit. And now the fact that they're playing the Rams, which we'll get to in just a little bit, but it's all an illusion. Because the fact remains this all falls on Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Nagy. And have they done anything to make you feel they can make a legit run? This is the NFL. Anybody could be got any week. And if you're not careful, Detroit almost made this one of those games. And that score really is an indication. 20-13. They couldn't put it on Detroit, who's a bad defensive team. They are still not open to open up that offense. David Montgomery has 60 yards on 17 carries. That's wonderful. Is that going to continue to happen? There's no synchrony in this offense. It's always something different this week. The only thing you can guarantee is they're not going to run the ball. And when they finally do, they have a little bit of success. But I think this is fool's gold. I want to be positive. I would love to be wrong in this case, because that means that they're going to make a serious run. But this win didn't do anything for me. It was just, it's one of those death by paper cuts. It's just prolonging the inevitability that is the season ending in 500, 7-9, or 9-7, and missing the playoffs. But with that out of the way, let's get into our picks on Week 11, and we start off with Thursday Night Football with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Interesting matchup. Pittsburgh has been winning since they made that trade for the cornerback. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but interesting matchup that we see here because Cleveland needs this win. I mean, everything is coming out of Freddie Kitchens getting fired and Baker Mayfield having all this negativity around them, a lot of it being self-brought up, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this. Mason Randolph has been having a nice little season since he's been covering for Ben Roethlisberger. Going to see interesting what James Conner does, but I go with Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football. Mike Tomlin, man, it's a hell of a coach. I'm telling you, that organization is just one of the best. We have Dallas and Detroit. Dallas needs to bounce back. Dallas is trying to establish themselves, and in an NFC that's wide open, Dallas still has a chance to make a legit run at this damn thing. They need to put wins together. They need to get confidence together. Ezekiel Elliott needs to get back to what Ezekiel Elliott used to do before the big contract. I'm going to go with Dallas still, but this is a very interesting trap game. Maybe we'll come back to this one as one of those try to win this week in confidence picks. We have Jacksonville at Indianapolis. I'm not too sure if Jacoby Brissett's going to play. Jacksonville going to have Nick Foles back. I'm going to go with... This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Jacksonville in this one. Again, I feel like unless anything else is different, Indianapolis is kind of banged up, and this is kind of off of a bye week. Maybe Jacksonville can make this really interesting. I'll go with the Jags on this one. We have Atlanta at Carolina. I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one. Again, Atlanta is capable more than anybody to put up a lot of points, but I think Carolina's a better team. They have a better defense, and I think Christian McCaffrey is going to touch the ball like 30 times, which I hope he happens, and I'll go with Carolina in this matchup. We have the Bills in Miami. Miami, not the worst team in the NFL, like everybody thought, winning another game. I'm going to go with Buffalo in this one. Buffalo, these are the games Buffalo needs to win if you're going to be a playoff team. We talk about this every year, where if you're one of these bad teams that's going to make into the playoffs after missing it last year or a few years, the fact is you have to win against the bad teams, especially within your own division. You can't have any of these mess-ups, any of these trap games. You can't go from Buffalo to Miami, get caught up, and lose that game. You need to win, especially with New England in your division. You know they're going to win all their easy matchups. I'm going to go with Buffalo. It's interesting, though, at Miami, but I think Buffalo might have the running game with Singletary, Gore, and Allen to really go ahead and slow this down and win this game. We have Denver at Minnesota. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Kirk Cousins hasn't done anything to lose this team. This team has been a little banged up, especially with Adam Thielen, but I'm going to go with Minnesota in this matchup. And if we were at Denver, it might be a little different, but I think Dalvin Cook's just going to go off in this game. We have the Jets at Washington. I'm going to go with the Jets on this one, but again, this is such a toss-up. It can either be one of these two teams, so I'm not going to put a lot of points in this one. I'm just going to put with the Jets because I think they have the better quarterback, and you have Dawkins coming in from the Ohio State, not going to make a start here for Washington, so I'm going to go with the Jets on this matchup. We have Houston and Baltimore. Okay, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. I think Houston's the better offensive team, right? They have more weapons at wide receiver. I think Baltimore has the better running game. Defensively, I would go with Baltimore. At Baltimore, this is a tough one. I'm going to go with Baltimore on this game because they're the home team. If this was at Houston, I would go at Houston. We have the Saints and Tampa Bay. Well, the Saints didn't look good last week. Tampa's always a toss-up, especially with Jameis, but they have two great wide receivers. I'm going to go with New Orleans in this matchup, but again, divisional, who knows? Who knows in the NFL? We have the Cardinals. We have the Niners. The Niners are going to look to bounce back in division at home, look for them to run the ball down Arizona's throats and see if Jimmy Garoppolo gets a nice few plays in the red zone. I'll go with the Niners. We have the Patriots and the Eagles. Fun matchup, rematch of the Super Bowl. I will go with... Interesting. I'm going to go with New England. I think New England gets right in this game. I thought New England was going to lose to Baltimore, and this is a game they won't lose. They're not worried about Philadelphia. They'll put it on them, try some different things out, getting ready for the playoff push. I think New England wins big in this one. We have Cincinnati and Oakland. I'm going to go with Oakland. Go figure. After everything is said and done, John Gruden might have proven everybody wrong, at least making Oakland very respectable, and Cincinnati's a bad team. So I'm going to go with Oakland. Cincinnati might be the worst team in the NFL. Bears and Rams. So this essentially is an elimination game. If the Rams can hold court on Sunday Night Football in Los Angeles, they really give themselves that opportunity to have three NFC West teams in the playoffs. The Bears find a way to win this game. They put themselves in a position, have a little bit more confidence, something to build upon, and legitimately, once again, be in a playoff push. Is it fool's gold we saw in against Detroit? I think so. Does that change the fact that the NFL is weird? That the NFL allows teams to get into a rhythm and put themselves in good positions if you allow them to win a game? Yes. Because the fact remains is these games are going to be decided, these divisions, these playoff positions, by one game, by a game here or there, especially within the division, especially within the conference. And with two division teams like Minnesota, Green Bay, and San Francisco, Seattle, this is such an important game between the Rams and Chicago. Chicago seems to have the Rams' number when it comes offensively and their defensive matchups. This is Chuck Pagano. This isn't Vic Fangio's defense. This is Chuck's defense. I don't know if it's going to have the same type of impact, but this isn't the same offense that Bears defense played just 2 years ago. So I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. It's going to be nice weather. I think they're going to really let loose. And if nothing else, that Rams offense hasn't been impressive either. And Jared Goff has not been impressive even after them spending all that money to give him on a contract. And on Monday Night Football in Mexico, we have Kansas City and the Chargers. So prime time, pretty good this week. I'm going to go with Kansas City, the high altitude. But this is going to be a fun matchup. Kansas City is really going to establish themselves, and they really need to make sure that at the very least that the only time they play the Patriots is in the AFC Championship game. I think it's pretty cut and clear that the Patriots are going to host the entire playoffs with home field advantage, but and I think Kansas City really needed that. But if for nothing else, just make sure if you got to play New England, it's in the AFC Championship game. So I'm going to go with Kansas City, trying to make sure that they keep pace and try to get as much home field as they can. But those are our picks for Week 11 in the NFL. It's time to see how we feel with confidence-wise in some of these picks. And we look down just a little bit to see what we have here. And some interesting matchups. I think San Francisco, we're going to put a couple points on, and New England, so we'll throw them up. And, of course, if you're new to us and you're not watching us on YouTube, we're on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. We'll, of course, give you a rundown before we get out of here. So I like New England. I like San Francisco. I like Minnesota. I like New Orleans. I like Oakland. So these are the ones who I have the most confidence in. So now that we're here, we'll go ahead and put 14 on Minnesota for now. We will put 13 on San Francisco. We will put 12 on New England. We will put some interesting matchups. I don't feel too confident about some of these on the bottom. So we'll move up a little bit. I guess I put some points on Oakland. If I'm ever going to put points on Oakland, it's this game, right? Especially at home. So I'll go ahead and put 11 on Oakland. I will put 10 on New Orleans. I will put 9 on Dallas. I feel icky about that. I will put interesting. I'll put 8 on Buffalo. I will put, so we look around a little bit. I guess here I will put 7 on Carolina. I put 6 on Pittsburgh. I'll put 5 on Jacksonville. I'll put 5 on Chicago and the Rams to try to make a couple points, make it up if they do win. I'll put, I'll move it up a little bit. I'll put 6 on Kansas City. I'll put 5 on Chicago, 4 on Pittsburgh, 3 on Jacksonville, 2 on the Jets, and 1 on Baltimore. And just to make a couple points, I'll put 3 on Baltimore. I'll put 4 on Baltimore. Just to put a couple points on them. Might as well try to see if you. And that's the thing about confidence is even if you make them right, you want to make sure that you get enough points because it's the NFL. You're gonna get some wrong. So here is the rundown. We have 14 points on the Vikings over the Broncos, 13 points on the Niners over the Cardinals, 12 on the Patriots beating the Eagles, 11 on the Raiders beating the Bengals, 10 points on the Saints beating the Buccaneers, 9 on the Cowboys over the Lions, 8 on Buffalo over Miami, 7 on the Panthers over the Falcons, 6 on the Chiefs over the Chargers, 5 on the Bears over the Rams, 4 on Baltimore over Houston, 3 points on the Steelers over the Browns, 2 on Jacksonville over Indianapolis, and 1 point on the Jets beating Washington. And those are our picks for Week 11 in the NFL, as well as our thoughts on the Bears over the Lions last week. And we will have a breakdown on over the Bears and the Rams on Sunday Night Football next week here on Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. Until then, thank you so much for joining us here on the network. Please enjoy all the games. Make sure you follow us all over social media and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Until the next time, for Week 12 in the NFL, enjoy Week 11. We'll see you next time here on Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm Mike Mercado.